Price is super important.
What's the number one pricing mistake you see most often?
Believing your home is worth more.
There is that emotional connection to it as well. The seller really truly believes that their house is worth that much.
Just because something's been on the market a long time doesn't mean it's bad, but it does mean it's priced wrong.
The Red Chair Podcast. Real truth behind real people in real estate.
Well, welcome to another episode of the Red Chair Podcast. We are so glad you have chosen to join us here today for another episode. And obviously, you wanted to hear this one because you chose it based on the topic. And so today we've got another great topic here for you. But just before we even do that, as a quick reminder, we've got lots of episodes to choose from. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notifications on future episodes. We've always got new content coming out every week. If you're watching this on YouTube, we are also available on Spotify, so you can listen to us in your car or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you're on Spotify, come on over to YouTube and have a look at the live version of us sitting here having the conversation as well. And so thank you for joining us today, and we are so glad you have done so. So today we're talking about the psychology of pricing, why your listing price matters more than you think. And this is such a hot topic right now because we do have a lot of properties on the market. We're filming this in the late summer, early fall of 2025. We've got a more balanced market right now, and we've got an industry expert with us here today, Mr. Neil Bosdet. Neil is a decorated, experienced real estate agent.
Makes me feel like I've got a Christmas tree and I got some things dangling from my ear.
You have received several awards with Royal LePage, one of the most coveted ones being the AE LePage National Realtor of the Year for all of Canada in 2022. So
2020.
In 2020, pardon me. So congratulations again on
you.
that.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been in real estate.
Okay, thanks, April. I've been in real estate for 13 years. I've really got a background of real estate in my family and in my blood. My grandfather was a builder. My father was an appraiser and a realtor and opened his own brokerage back in the 70s. I'm coming from 25 years of professional sales experience and some construction, building custom homes. And then in 2012, I had friends and family suggest that I get my license. And I always knew that I should. So I did, and they were right. It was a perfect fit. I've been really happy with that. Since then, I've had the privilege of building the Bosdet Homes team, which has a handcrafted approach to real estate. And I've been honored, as you mentioned, with the Realtor of the Year award. I've been in Chairman's Club, which is top 1% in Canada. But more than that, it's really fantastic that I get to work with clients, and this is what drives me every day, is working for clients and doing the best that I can with them using creativity, integrity, and care.
Yeah, I would say really a big part of your business is the relationships that you build. You know, the awards and all the accolades are great, but it's the connecting with the clients that I think is such a big part of why you are so successful. So that's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we are talking about, I'll just kind of give the sort of preamble here. You know, have you ever wondered why some homes sit on the market while others get multiple offers within days, even if they look almost the same? More often than not, the answer comes down to one thing, and that is pricing psychology. So in this episode, we'll explore why your listing price is more than just a number. It's a strategy that impacts buyers' perceptions, negotiation power, and ultimately how quickly and profitably your home sells. So we're going to unpack that a little bit here. The first thing we're going to talk about is first impressions around price. So my question to you is, what's the psychology behind how buyers interpret a home price?
And it was a wonderful question. And it's not actually one that's usually phrased that way,
Okay.
but we'll go with that because certainly. I think of the price that a home comes to market at, it's its offer of a handshake. It's welcome to the market. It sets the tone for how that home is going to be received before anyone walks through the door. So,
It's good. That's short and sweet. I would like for you to elaborate a little bit more.
okay. And the pricing is a really massive topic with all kinds of little rabbit holes that we can go down. And I think we will probably go down them. And
Okay.
it's going to be a building process. But buyers are smarter than sellers think. You can get the average buyer sees hundreds and hundreds of homes. They visit maybe dozen, maybe more, maybe less. But they're aware because they go through these homes and they're going through online and they get a feel for what market value is. And if a home is priced too high, they'll sense that right away. And sellers often is a good word, say, well, that's where I want to start. And, if they think my price is too high, they can make an offer. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's that's one of the hardest things for sellers to realize is it doesn't work. Something that's 30,000 overpriced, buyers will pass by. They won't make that offer because you're overpriced. And it's a hard lesson that sellers sometimes have to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things I often hear in the industry, and maybe you can comment on this phrase or not, but often I hear, the price of a house is what the buyer is willing to pay for it. So, you set a price,
The value of
the
a house.
value of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And any sale is an agreement between seller and buyer. What a seller's willing to sell it for, what a buyer is willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That is definition of market value.
Interesting. Okay, so first of all, let's maybe talk about overpricing,
Okay.
because that, post-pandemic, I think a lot of people are still kind of in this, some are where they're still like, well, my neighbor sold in 2020 for 1.5 million, and so I should be able to get the same. And they're thinking, like the history suggests that that's what I can get for it. So I'm going to start there. Just like you said, I'm going to start here and we'll see what happens. Let's talk about that. What happens in that case? Like, how are you talking to a seller who kind of has that mindset about overpricing?
Well, there's several things. The conversation when they want to overprice is helping them educate and help them understand how we look at the market, how buyers are looking at the market, and where their home fits. You got to have empathy, and you got to understand that it's their home and they think it's worth more.
Yeah.
But if a home is overpriced, it's going to sit. Sitting is not good. It's akin to bread sitting on a shelf and getting stale.
Yeah.
Buyers start to think, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
And it's a problem that causes a home to sell for less than what it should sell for. So, there's all kinds of steps involved with data and absorption rates, which is a big one. A lot of people don't think about
let's
that.
talk about that. What does that mean?
What's an absorption rate?
Yeah.
Okay, I can use an analogy or a little example. I have a very expensive home, beautiful home, listed for sale, many millions of dollars. The data on that in Victoria, unlike places like Vancouver or Toronto, is we typically sell about one home per year in Greater Victoria that's priced over $5 million, over $7 million. I forget the exact data, but one every 15.
One
home per year.
Okay. One home per year sells over 15.
Over 7 million.
Okay,
I
okay.
forget the exact number. I looked at the number and there was about 15 homes available.
Right.
So that means there's 15 years of inventory.
Wow.
So absorption rate is Like if you have candy bars for sale, you got a box of 20. How often do they sell? If you sell 3 a day, okay, you've got less than a week's worth of inventory.
Right.
Right now we have 15 years of inventory of luxury product.
Mm-hmm.
And so the comment to the seller is, do you want to be the one or do you want to sit?
Right.
Because as one sells, then it's not 14 years of inventory because more will come on the market.
Right.
So absorption rates are important, and they apply for anything. With we have a slower condo sale market right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have more inventory than we have buyers for. So the question is for the condo seller, do you want to be the one that sells in this building, or do you want to let that sale go to another unit that's willing to price at a sharper price point?
Right. Okay, so I'm the seller in that condo building and you're having this conversation with me. Of course, my answer to that question is going to be, yeah, I want to be the one. I need to sell my house. Or, I want to move on to the next thing. So, we've established that. What's the next step at that point? What are you saying to me at that point?
If we haven't had the conversation already, then we're going to do several things. We're going to look at market data. I'm going to prepare what's called a CMA, a comparative market analysis. We're going to go through and look at similar product and try and gauge where your home fits into that CMA. And if there's differences, you factor that and you come up to a guesstimate on value, market value, what you think the home would sell for. Then from there, you go to strategy. How do you want to price the home to get it sold?
Right.
So challenge can be, let's just say somebody's got a condo, it's worth a little over $500,000. Let's say the market data comes out, it's worth $515,000. Where do you price it? The obvious target is $499,000. Whoa! You just told me $515,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely, we can go out at $530,000, $529,000, $519,000. It depends on your comfort level and what you're willing to accept, because every 100,000 is what we call a threshold. And there's thresholds everywhere. $1 million is a massive threshold. So let's hypothetically say that this condo is priced at, it was worth around 500,000. If you price it $499,000, you're going to have 250 buyers that look at that condo. You price it $529,000, now you've got 120.
Right.
More buyers means more attention, gives you a leverage, and it increases your chance for a full price offer or maybe multiple offers. And when it starts to get a little bit too high, you're obviously going to go higher. But overpricing above where you actually feel the thing is worth, that can be a problematic unless it's fairly close.
Right. So why is there a difference in the amount of buyers at $499 versus $519?
Okay, so with very few exceptions, most buyers are going to have a search set up for them by their realtor. And within that search, the first criteria that we fill out is how much can you afford?
Price range.
How much? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can afford 500,000, but I'd rather spend 450. Okay. Now, what happens if something is a little bit higher? Do you want to go there? But typically what most realtors do, I can afford 480. Okay, let's search up to 500.
Right.
The $100,000 thresholds are there, and people will search them. It's like the same thing if you go on realtor.ca, you fill out that box saying how much, look up to what price. And people will usually land on $100,000 increments.
Right.
Not necessarily, but usually.
Yeah.
And then if a home comes on the market that's priced at 519 and your threshold is 500, computer doesn't know that it's close.
Yeah.
Send it to you, it's binary. It's just out.
You've missed the mark
So
there.
they just
Yeah.
don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the risk for sure. So that's
But
good.
most agents will cut it off. I usually round up a little bit. Like I'll go to 520 on a search, and I'll explain why, just to catch those couple that are priced just slightly higher. But most agents don't.
Yeah. Would you say that in most cases, like a buyer's working with an agent, they're getting these listings through the search, whatever. If the agent is giving the buyer information about the listing, they're probably saying things like, well, this one's been on the market for, 90 days. And the buyer says, well, why has it been on the market so long? Would you say like 9 times out of 10, that's because of the pricing? because it's overpriced, or what are
Yep.
the other factors there?
Yeah. Well, the root is price. Always.
Always.
Always. Well, I mean, in a rare exception, you're going to have a couple of exceptions, but more than 9 out of 10.
Right.
Because at everything will sell at a price.
Yeah.
Everything will go. So it's just a matter of getting that price right. The rare exceptions might be something funky in the building, or maybe they had a deal together that just collapsed
Right.
for reasons that doesn't actually affect the value of that unit. But most of the time, it's price.
Yeah.
And if you get the price right, you'll sell quickly, and then it doesn't become that stale bread on the shelf.
Right.
But if you get the price wrong, then you enter into that difficult space of price reductions. And agents see all this, and they know. And instantly, it's overpriced.
Yeah. Would you say days on market is a really important piece to be considering when you're looking at properties?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not necessarily just because something's been on the market a long time doesn't mean it's bad, but it does mean it's priced wrong.
Right. That's a really important key.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably something to take away from this as a consumer, to be like, okay, I'm going to be more aware when I'm going out looking at properties, like it's such a crazy market to me too, though, because sometimes you look at something and you say, man, that is overpriced, but yet it goes into multiple offers, and there's these
exceptions.
outliers,
Yep.
right? That you're just like, how did that even happen,
Yep.
right? And so that can become tricky, but I really think that's a key piece, is that like looking at that days on market to really determine, okay, am I,
It gives you an indication. It doesn't tell
Yeah.
you exactly,
yeah,
but it gives you an indication.
yeah,
And it goes back to that earlier thing where if you're overpriced, buyers rarely make an offer. They just pass by.
yeah,
So you got to get them while they're caught. One of the analogies that I talk about, this is regarding days on market, is I talk about all the buyers out there being a big school of fish, and they're swimming around, and they see everything that's out there. And if they're really interested in a property, they're going to go look. This all happens in the first 2 to 3 weeks. After that, that big school of fish, it swims away.
yeah,
Getting them to come back is virtually impossible.
yeah,
So your best opportunity to maximize your selling price and have a home that gets sold equals client satisfaction is pricing it right in the beginning, and having that big school of fish is out there. They feel the pressure of something that's good,
Yeah.
and it motivates them to act and to not hesitate.
right. Right. And when you're in a sort of a saturated market, let's talk about the condo market again.
Yeah.
If you are the new, the new shiny object that's just come on the market and it's priced effectively, that school who's looked at everything else is going to jump on that.
Yep.
And,
And
then you're going to get,
they know the value in the market because they've looked at everything.
right.
This is what we go back
Yeah.
to. They all know,
And then you're going to benefit potentially from multiple offers in a situation like that,
if you're lucky.
if you're lucky, which will get you your full price and possibly more.
Possibly more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a strange time right now where we've come off of COVID. We've come off, really from 2016 right up to 2022 with a couple of blips. We had a pretty consistent market.
Yeah.
Since then, it's been flatlining.
Yes.
And by flatlining, I'm not meaning death.
No.
I'm just meaning it's been steady.
Yeah.
Market activity has stayed steady and consistent. And right now we're in a bit of a strange time where our listings they've climbed. They have plateaued. We are in what's effectively called a balanced market, but some days it feels more like a buyer's market. And the folks that are lucky and get a multiple offer on a property, it really is a rarity these days.
Yeah.
And the ones that are priced well and do a whole pile of other things are the ones that have the best
Right.
chance of getting multiple offers. It's not just price.
Yes.
Certainly, cornerstone, important.
Yeah.
But there's other things involved too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, location, quality.
You can't change
you
location,
know.
but you can change you can change curb appeal. You can change the interior and how it presents.
Right.
You can change your lighting. You can change your cleanliness. You can do all those things. You can't change your location.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you bought their baby. So whatever you paid, hopefully you got a decent deal, and you paid market value or even a little bit better.
Right.
But it doesn't suddenly change when you go to sell it.
Yeah.
It's the same location.
So along those lines, and I'm kind of off script right now, but I really like what we're talking about. Let's say now, and this has happened to me in my previous dealings with clients. I've got a client who they bought in a market where the prices were high, and they wanted this area. They paid a premium to be there. And now, let's say it's 5, 6 years later, they have to move because they're moving to a new city, and they got to get out quickly. And the market has kind of dived since then.
You're not talking about
And
Victoria, right?
no, I'm talking about a different market. But
It's not right.
but now I'm having to have the conversation with them. Okay, well, we're going to list it, but you're actually not going to get, and this doesn't happen super often, but it does happen sometimes, where they're going to basically list it for the price that they paid for it, or maybe even a little bit less. And so how are you having that conversation with people? And,
The conversation really comes around education. If you know the market, you can give analogies and you can help them understand the ebb and flow. Real estate goes up and up and up and up over the years, and it does this. It does a nice line. I'm probably going to the viewers. It goes this way. But if you look close at the line, it does this.
little jumps
Yeah,
all
it
around.
does little wiggles
Yeah.
all over the place. Same with the stock market. The stock market keeps going up, but if you look closely, there's crashes, there's
Yep.
ebb and flow. So it's important to understand there's a couple of ways of approaching that. If they're going to sell their property, are they moving to a different property in the same market? If they are, you're trading equity. Don't worry about the
Right.
fact that the market's gone down. Whatever you want to buy has gone down as well. So you're trading equity. If you're moving to a market that's further down, you're even in better situation. If you're moving to a market that's gone up, that is reality. You want to go to that market, you're going to be paying a premium to go to that market, just like you paid a premium to be in this house that you're
Right.
in. And then it really comes down to looking at the market data, and that's really the comparable sales. Looking at each home, condo, whatever the case is, and doing your best to understand this is what's happening for these folks, understanding where they may have had problems with relists or price decreases and effective getting sales, and then looking at your house and seeing where that fits in. And if you present the data in a really educational way, most of the time sellers will realize the answer and they'll actually tell you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't, but that's usually what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well, let's get back on script here. So we talked about the dangers of overpricing, and I think the idea of like overpricing and a listing becoming sort of stale, and then it's losing its momentum. You're losing the opportunity to potentially sell it for the price that it should sell for. So those are things to consider. So when we talk about strategic pricing, we talked about sort of those brackets of, price range so that, it's hitting the search platforms properly. What other strategies can agents use to sort of like,
This goes back to classic grocery store pricing and basically everything. If you look at something, there's a reason that most things are priced at $99. If you look at a house that's worth $800,000, is there a difference between pricing it at $800,000 versus $799,000? Yeah, psychologically, it's $100,000 cheaper to price something at $799. No, it's not. You can price it at $799,900. It's $100 cheaper than $800,000, but it feels like $100,000.
Yeah.
So it starts with a 7 instead of starting with an 8. And so that pricing is real.
Yeah.
And so to ignore it, my personal opinion is not your best, not in your best interest.
That's good. And that is really the psychology of it. It's like the visual even just like the visual pricing, you're so I am the ultimate consumer. I love to shop. And 19.99 is a better deal than paying $20 for something. It just
It
is.
just is. It just
Yeah.
and you don't even sometimes think about it.
No. But somehow, it's easier to justify, right? Like it's just like, well, it's not a million, it's 9.99.
Yeah.
So I'm not like breaking the bank here. I can
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
And it's just such a mental thing sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in buyers' brains that they aren't even aware of.
Yeah. So the 99 thing, that is definitely a pricing strategy.
Hmm.
What other strategies can you think of?
Well, and it goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is the thresholds.
Hmm.
It's tied to that. It's not the same as a threshold, but if you're selling a product that all your competition is priced between 480 and 500, but your place is clearly, or you think your place is worth more,
Hmm.
but when you price above where everyone is in the market, you are typically losing those buyers that are watching that product
Right.
because you're looking for somebody that's actually shopping in a higher price category. And then the other products that actually are worth more are showing up in those categories.
Hmm.
So your product doesn't look as good as what you're being compared against.
Right. Is staging a good strategy for pricing?
Yes,
Okay, let's
staging
talk about
is.
that.
Okay. Um, Fire away.
Well, first of all, I mean, let's just pretend we don't even know what staging is. So, what's
Okay. Well, there's,
staging?
there's two ways of looking at staging. Staging can be just, myself and you
Hmm.
walking through your home and talking about what we can do with what you have
Okay.
to make your home more presentable to the majority of buyers.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is this is going back to psychology of basic people in general. A lot of people don't have vision for spatially.
Hmm.
So I was a builder for a time. I could look at a hillside full of trees and I could actually I could envision a home. I knew where I had to blast. I knew where I had to create views. I knew how to take down the trees. All these things that as a builder you want a builder to be able to do.
Hmm.
My wife couldn't see what I was talking about at all because she is like most people where you start to try and use your imagination. A lot of people can't.
Yeah.
So you walk into a home that's vacant, empty, and people can't envision where they'd put their furniture. And that's the value of staging.
Hmm.
So that I'm crossing the bridge to the professional staging now where they bring in furniture.
Right.
But you want to, like in a cluttered home, you want to declutter.
Hmm.
Less is more in a home.
Yeah.
So we talk about removing personal photos. A lot of people think it's um, because of being private, like
Hmm.
for privacy.
Right.
Yeah, there's that, but actually, it's more about a buyer's perception. If a buyer's walking through a house and it's really good for them,
Hmm.
priced well, but it's loaded with personal photographs, a lot of times they'll come out of that house saying, "That was a great house. It looks like April is really happy there. What's next?" Because now they can't imagine themselves living there
Right.
because now they've got a picture of you. They've
Yeah.
got that in their head of you living there and they can't move
They
in.
can't move past it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, in terms of staging, and I know like it's broad in terms of how much that can cost, but approximately if a seller was deciding to stage,
Hmm.
maybe they've got a place that's vacant that
Hmm.
was an investment property and now so it needs to sort of be outfitted
Okay.
for listing. What kind of costs could they expect to pay?
Can we narrow this down? Like, are
Sure.
we talking a 2 bedroom condo or are we
Sure,
talking
yeah.
a house?
Let's talk about a two-bedroom
Two
condo.
bedroom condo. You're gonna be able to pay. My stager does it for about 2,500 typically.
Okay.
That's a move in, move out cost and a month worth of staging. And then I think she charges 10% or 15% per month rent. So the 2,500 covers first month, move in, move out, set up, all that stuff.
Hmm.
And then it's monthly after the first month. Then I'm sure you can spend
Yeah,
$10,000 and there's
just
lots of different
depending.
stages out
Yeah.
there. So you can pay a lot. I think the one that I use is fairly inexpensive. I don't think you can get it done for much less.
Hmm.
So the question always is from the seller, is that $2,500 or $3,000, is that worth it? Will it deliver $3,000 more to me?
Right.
It doesn't mean we're going to increase the price based on market value, but you're probably going to get more than $3,000 a better offer
Right.
versus having it empty.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you'll attract more buyers. More buyers will like the look of the place and want to view.
Right.
More buyers through the door, more buyer pressure, more urgency, better offers.
Right. So with that strategy, then you're doing, the professional staging, or you're going in and talking to the seller and saying, hey, the walls are scuffed up. A good fresh coat of paint is going to, do a world of good on these walls. Take your existing furniture, kind of put it in this configuration, and that's going to be the less expensive way to do it for them. But guiding them through that process, I think, is important, so that again you're setting it up for the most success.
Guiding is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So basically,
You're not doing it for them. You're not in there painting.
I'm not in there painting. No. Basically, what I'm offering is advice and expertise, and figuratively, we'll make a list.
Yeah.
And the list is going to be long, right? And you prioritize that list into the most important things. And at some point, you cry uncle and say, okay, that's good, list it.
Right.
And you just do as much as you can,
Yeah.
get as much done as you can, and take it to market.
Right. Right.
If there's any deal breakers, I'll point them out and just say, these things are going to inhibit
Yeah.
a sale or prevent you getting the price you want. And then it's
I
up
think
to the
that's really
seller.
helpful too, because that list could be long and it could be daunting, and they may be crunched for time. And so categorizing the priorities and doing those things to be the most effective, I think, is going to be really helpful too. So,
Yeah. And a lot of times sellers want to do some renovations. And that's actually often, I shouldn't say actually, often, it's not the right thing to do, because you're then deciding
Yeah.
what a buyer wants. And you may get it right, but you may not.
Yeah.
And the cost of renovations usually exceeds the increased or perceived increase in value. Unless you're doing the work yourself, and maybe you can, if painting is a great one, painting's fantastic. If you can do the painting yourself, great.
Yeah.
Because very low cost, and it's a really big impact right away.
Absolutely.
But it's hard for
fresh
some
coat
people.
of
You
paint,
get an elderly seller, they don't really
Yes.
want to paint or don't even feel they're capable of it.
Yeah.
So it's all about knowing your client, finding out what they're comfortable with, and then doing the best you can.
Yeah, that's good. Really good. Okay, so navigating market shifts. So, the market shifts, goes from buyers to sellers to balance to back to forth. We have different market cycles that we go through. So, how should agents adjust their pricing conversations in today's market conditions? It's a weird one right now. So, how are we, like right now in this day and age, how are we talking pricing?
So this day and age, we have to be very, very honest and forthright with our sellers, because if if a seller feels that their home is worth X, or simply wants X for their house, but the market does not support it, it's up to us to educate. When I list a home, and when any agent lists a home, it costs a lot of money to take a home to market, get all the media done, everything else, thousands. And it's a very strange profession we're in, where we spend all this money on the hope that we get paid.
Yeah.
So you're doing a disservice to yourself as well when you don't properly educate the seller. So it's really about data. You give them concrete information. Show them the comparable markets. Show them comparable sales. When you talk about, well, my neighbor is listed for 1.2. Why can't I list for 1.2? Your neighbor is available for sale. They don't have a deal. The problem is when you talk about an active listing, you're talking about a hope.
Yeah.
So I always tell my sellers, active listings are not market value. They are a source of information that tells us what our competition is.
Right.
And whenever you're competing, you want to be better than your competition. You don't want to be the same, and you don't want to be worse. So that's what you have to look at. You're really looking at recent sales that have not completed yet, or recent completions, and you make sure that you're within your market cycle. If you're talking about, if your seller or yourself is talking about something that happened last month, or heaven forbid, a year ago, it's really difficult then to have a strategy that makes sense. You
Right.
got to look at what's happening now.
Yeah.
Because our market right now is in a funny place. Vancouver and Toronto are not in a good situation. We've hung on there and we're doing okay. Where are we going to go? I don't know.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
I know. That's frustrating.
Yeah. 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 We should do a segment, I think, on just like looking into our crystal ball
Oh, I
and,
know.
you know,
My crystal ball is cracked and a little bit cloudy.
yeah. Yeah. Mine is broken for sure. I get one of those magic 8 balls from the store, and just shake it and see what it says. No, that's really good. So the pricing conversation with the client, I think, is a difficult one. It always is. I think, they have something set in their mind based on a number of things, whether it's, they know of someone who recently sold in their neighborhood and they sold for this price, or this one's listed for this price, or, they have these preconceived, I think everybody thinks they know everything about real estate and politics, right? I mean, this is just the way it is.
I don't talk politics, but I do hear a lot of people with expecting
Everybody
they
has an
know everything.
opinion. So what is the best way to handle a seller who insists on pricing too high?
Well, really, when you get to the point of somebody that wants to sell too high, it becomes a decision. I mean, there's several pieces to this answer. It becomes a decision whether or not you want to work with that client. Because again, we're going to be putting out a lot of money, a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And most of the time when sellers overprice, if they're not ready to reduce and to get to market value, if they're really stuck on that, they're probably going to be unsuccessful. And when you're unsuccessful, it's often the agent's fault, according to the seller, right? So you're setting yourself up for failure, and that's no fun. It's not a good strategy as a realtor. So if a seller insists on going too high, it depends on how high.
Right.
A little bit over market. Who am I to say that somebody won't pay a little bit over market? We can try it, but if they say, well, I want that, or I'm not selling, then it's up to the agent to decide whether or not they're going to take that listing or not, because then you're back to absorption rates
Yeah.
and market data. And we have a big enough market in Greater Victoria that all the data makes sense. It actually does give us a picture of what's going on,
Yeah,
and the
that's
buyers
true.
do learn. Every once in a while, as you pointed out, something will be a bit of an anomaly, and it will sell fast, maybe multiple offers, go for what you would arguably say is over market. And it does happen. And
Yeah.
it drives sellers nuts,
Yeah.
except for the one that sold for over market. But yeah, I've got one right now where we are priced just over $1 million, and it should be $999. The data supports a $996 selling price. But one in their complex sold at $1,015,000 a few months ago,
Oh, wow.
and they think they're better. But the problem is they're a little bit smaller, and price per square foot doesn't really matter a ton in single-family homes. It does
Right.
matter, but it really matters in condos and townhouses.
Yeah.
And we look at that data. Don't live by it, but we look at that data.
Yeah. Yeah. Data is everything, I think. It's just so important.
There's a lot of data.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard some agents talk to strategy about, okay, yes, we'll go in at your price, but maybe in 2 weeks we're going to drop it 10,000,
Yep.
and then in 2 weeks we're going to drop it another 10.
Yep.
And sort of getting that agreement up front,
Yep.
so that the seller understands, okay, fine, we'll do it my way first.
Yep.
But there's an agreement here
Yep.
that we're going to adjust.
And
this
that's
as time
what I was
goes
saying.
by.
Yeah, that's one of the approaches for sure. You've got to find out if the person's actually serious to sell.
Yeah.
If they're not serious to sell and they want their price, then you've got a personal decision to make.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, if they're insistent on going at a higher price, I do that. I say, okay, then let's talk about how long will it be before we can make an adjustment. And then we do steps.
Yeah.
And you know where you got to go. But you got to make sure the seller understands
Yeah.
the consequences of overpricing.
Yeah.
The consequences usually are the home will sell less for less than you'd actually sell it if you price it right in the beginning. And that's one that they really have difficulty digesting.
Yeah. And as the realtor, you don't go back in the end and go, I told you so, but you kind of feel like you want to, right? Because, at the end of the day, it's like, had we just done it the way, me as the experienced agent told you to,
Yeah, it's
it
hard.
would, it's
It's hard.
frustrating for sure. That's so good. I think it's tricky, definitely, when you've got a seller that is insistent, and there's, we haven't really talked much about it. We talked a little bit about it, but there is that emotional connection to it as well. The seller really truly believes that their house is worth that much because they, built these custom cedar closets, and they, have this, beautiful marble mantle that they put on the fireplace, and it came from Italy, and, all of these things that they are emotionally attached to, and sort of like being sensitive around that and saying, we love that you love those things, but, the general public has a different perception of those things. They're going to put a different value on those things than you have, right? So those conversations are tricky for sure. That's good. Okay, so some quick questions here. Kind of the first thing that comes to your mind. What's the number one pricing mistake you see most often?
We just covered this. So
Okay.
it's believing your home is worth more than the market data shows. And that's really common. And you actually get sellers that actually believe their home's worth less than the market's saying. It happens all over the map. But yeah, when the people think that their home is worth more, and then a buyer is willing to pay, that's the most common pricing mistake.
That's good. What advice would you give a seller struggling to choose between multiple pricing strategies?
When trying to figure out where to price a property, you want to price the property. You want to know which strategy is going to attract the most buyers. Because more buyers equals more urgency, more competition, the highest chance that you're going to get the most money for your property. And usually equates to pricing a little bit less than what they want. But you tend to, in the end, sell it for the most.
Right. That's good. And then a funny one. If pricing a home were like playing a game, which one would it be and why?
Well, it would be like chess.
Oh.
It's strategic. You got to plan ahead. You got to think about moves before they happen. And ultimately, you got to plan for the win.
Yeah. That's so good. The checkmate.
Yeah.
That's so good. Good. Okay. I love what we've talked about. Are there other things that come to your mind that you wanted to sort of touch on in terms of the psychology of pricing?
I think we've done it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think one of the points that we started to talk about, which is all the other factors that come into selling a home. Price is super important, but following your real agent's advice, and hopefully you're getting really good advice on what to do, how to prepare your home, move your furniture. Really? Yeah. Furniture doesn't look good that set up. I know you like to live that way, but we're trying to set it up to attract more buyers. We just want to get as many people through the door as possible,
Right.
because that's going to increase your chances to sell. So there's so many bits. And the more things that you do based on your realtor's advice,
Right.
the more things you can do, the better your pricing strategy is going to work.
Yeah.
Because something that's priced at market value but presented dirty with, dirty clothes on the floor, dirty dishes in the sink, washing machine running when you're coming in the home, all these things affect first impressions, and you want to do everything you can because that's going to maximize your selling price.
So good. And what would you say to someone who's watching this and saying, you know what, I don't need an agent. I can do this on my own?
Good luck. Our market, and lots of people have during the crazy times been successful doing for sale by owner, and you can be successful now, absolutely. But there's an awful lot to it. There's a lot of skill and expertise that comes with our careers. A lot of knowledge that a sole single family home owner wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really important is negotiating.
Yes.
And negotiations, it's like the chess thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with buyers. When I make an offer on a property, I'm thinking about actually 4 moves ahead. I've got the whole thing played out. Is it going to happen exactly the way I planned? No, but I've got contingencies built in.
Right.
So when it's your own thing, your home or your car you want to sell or whatever, there's an emotion attached to your own thing. Realtors have the advantage of not being emotionless, but detaching
Right.
and being strategic, because our job is to look out for their best interests. And that keeps us on the track of planning ahead.
Yeah. That's so good. That is the biggest piece, I think, there with the for sale by owner is removing that emotion piece away from it at the negotiation table.
Yeah.
If you are looking to achieve top dollar, you cannot be negotiating on your behalf. You just can't.
The cost of engaging with a realtor is significantly less than the money that you will net
Right.
if you go to market. And I truly believe that. And, are there going to be some examples that break that curve? Sure.
Yep.
But in general, you'll make more money and get a better deal on a purchase by using a realtor than going it on your own.
Yeah. That's a good point. Awesome. Well, I think that has been a really good, talk about the psychology of pricing. It's not just about numbers, but it really is a lot about the data and understanding it and really, knowing all the nuances and I love what you said just now about contingencies, like in the negotiation, well, if this isn't going to work, we're going to go here, and knowing those little contingencies
Or if
is
they counter with
important.
this, okay,
Yeah.
then well, this is what we'll do.
Yeah.
So there's lots of that. And when you're pricing as well, so many subtleties.
Yes.
You can have 2 identical or virtually identical condos, and you'd think they'd equal each other, but which direction do they face?
Right.
Is
Right.
one on a noisy side of the building, one's on a quiet side. Does
Where
one
does
have
the
views?
sun rise and set?
Where,
and-
yeah, does one get really freaking hot
Yeah.
at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Does one have a view and one doesn't?
Right.
There's so many subtleties that aren't necessarily apparent, and on paper look perfect.
Yeah.
Buyers will see it.
Yeah.
They'll know.
Yeah.
They'll come in and go, well, I like that other one better. It's got
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't recognize those things to begin with, then you're chasing your
Yeah.
price down.
That's right.
And you don't want to do that, especially in our market where we've got uncertainty.
Yeah.
You don't want to be following a market. You want to be ahead of the market.
That's a great place to end right there. Love it. Neil, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
Your information is going to be alongside this podcast. People can get in touch with you and your amazing team of agents that are there supporting you. So you can reach out to Neil today. His information is alongside this podcast. Reach out to him, have a coffee, talk about strategy. Maybe this is really resonating with you because you're kind of at that moment where you need to consider what your next steps are, whether you're going to be selling or relocating or downsizing, whatever that looks like. I'm sure Neil can help you through that process. So reach out, have a coffee with Neil. He's a really great guy. I mean, we've had this great conversation today. And so thank you again for joining us today. As always, we are here to just help you navigate all of the intricacies of real estate. You can reach out and let us know if there's a topic that you would like more details on. We want to provide these to you each and every week. And so you'll see on the side here, you've got other options you can choose from if you want to continue to watch. Don't forget to subscribe and come and see us again here in the red chair. And we will see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Thanks, April.
Thanks, Neil.